Hey everybody, Cynical Buddha here, doing some late night drawing. I've got my tasty beverage, a nice brandy old fashioned sweet Wisconsin style, and it's late in the wee hours here in Anchorage, Alaska. Kids asleep, wife's going to bed. Favorite time for me to draw, and like I'm not going to do anything formal. I just thought I'd do a couple sketches or something. And one of the things I do a lot of is octopuses, because people always ask me for octopuses, and it's something I like to draw. It's kind of a fun form because octopuses are really amorphous. They have a general shape, but they flow. They're beautiful creatures. So thought we'd do a couple quick sketches here, and see what can come out of it here. I always start with the eye, and then depending on, I don't know how I want to draw it, but I'll pick a spot. So we get a lot of the tentacles and stuff in there too. And we start with the eye because that's my center point for an octopus. Already screwed up because octopus's pupil is a horizontal slit. So we'll do that right there, and it always it's a little bulger at the ends. And then we'll make his eyebrow. And we'll kind of do the other one over here. Cool. Now, so octopus is basically, there's a couple of parts, right? So the only thing solid on the octopus is the beak underneath the mouth. So he could probably be any shape you wanted, but generally when you see one out in nature in a tank, if let's say sitting on the bottom, we'll do something sitting on the bottom. So he's got his head, which has the big head sack on the back here, and then he's got this front part, and that usually, you could have him going this way out, kind of laying down flat, or if he's kind of like in predatory mode, you see him, they stand up almost like tall like this. So, and then we'll back like that, and then the gill slit here, and then depending on how we want to do it, we could either keep this in front, or we could bring the leg down and kind of put it behind the leg here, and that so that would look something like that. Put that around the gill slit, and then we'll bring the legs, the first one out, and we'll kind of like they're always kind of loopy. One thing not to get hung up on, and when I did a bunch of these, and I was trying to get all 8 legs in, because if you look at a photo of an octopus, you very rarely get to see all 8 of them, especially when you're in profile like this. So we'll just try to get at least a couple up here in front, and then we'll do, so we've got this one here, and you can already see I've gone a little too big on the page, but that, it's a sketch, it's something fun, right? So I always start off with thin lines and work on my thickness later. But we'll do a leg here, and we'll do another leg coming out back here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 and 8 would be back here, and you might, you might have a leg come out up there. And we'll kind of flow this one out front a little bit. Some fun wrist, The cool thing about it is if I don't like it, it's in pencil and it's on a sheet of copy paper. So we're just, just practicing, and that's really all art is a lot of practice. And then you can, take what you've practiced and eventually move it over to some other medium, like either pen and ink or paint or acrylic or clay or whatever you want. But, it's kind of running through the motions is always really important, and that repetition, you get really good at it. Like how easy did I just whip this out, right? So I've drawn lots of them, and then you kind of finish off the tentacle, and it tapers off here, and we'll play with it here. And I'm not going to go into super fine detail because I'm going to make this video too long, but we'll keep something like this, and we've got this Oh, I'm sure it's got a name, but you've got flap of skin that kind of comes over the legs as they come up underneath the octopus into the mouth area. So draw that out, and that, and around. And then, you can play with it. Like, I was always kind of scared because the suckers always threw me off. Like, I wanted to make them look good. And, like, octopuses are really weird, but if you look at the underside, the suckers are always in pairs. So when you start kind of going off, like, we'll see, like, if I was looking at it from here, I'll see some of the suckers here. And they'll probably go underneath the body, and then, like, the legs whipping around. So then he's got suckers over here, And then you see how I've kind of, like, the body's kind of like swooped around. So let's say, like we just draw some circles, right? So, because honestly, it's really hard to, unless you were trying to do something really scientifically accurate, just kind of getting the sucker discs in there. Because if you actually look at an octopus, these are almost on a stalk coming down, and they come off of the body, and you're probably not going to be able to emulate that too well. And who cares really? Like, you just want to make it look good, because this is the coolest thing about octopuses are the tentacles and the suckers on the tentacles, right? Because he's got these 8 crazy waving arms, and so if you can kind of get that, and they're always in pairs. So we see we're pairing it off here, and then that opens that up a little bit like that. And then depending on how you want to draw, you can add some stress lines in here to show a little depth, where the leg is bulging out a little bit. And we can keep it really simple, like we don't have to put a lot of lines on. But, or you could take it really complicated and you can add all these different like line art, and that's kind of the thing, like you do a couple simple, see if you like it. And then I would just go crazy. I would go crazy with the line art and try my lines and see what works. So like the eyes, I always like draw a couple little circles in there to show some depth and reflection, and then we'll do a really nice detail around the edge of the eye. Some under here, we'll do some stress lines, and then show a little the mantle here. And then I like to add, like we can do a couple little, some detailing, not too much, right? And then maybe some lines to show like the curvature. But like, and you could go and you could, I could spend hours on this, right? But you could say, oh yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Maybe I'll do something on some better paper and break out the pens and ink it up, or maybe I'll break out the acrylics or the watercolor or something. And, but then, like I said, I like to start off real thin and start thickening the lines as I go, because it's obviously much easier to thicken than it is to take that thickness away once you've added it. So, like darken some of the lines, get what you want, like these, like octopuses have all these little bumps and nodules and stuff. Their skin's not really smooth when you look at it. Depending on the species, but I'm just kind of drawing this atypical, maybe like Great Pacific octopus or something like that, and so we can add a little shading to show. This is, show like that. Add some more stress lines. And then we can sit around and play with suckers and put some more suckers on here. And yeah, I mean, practice, practice, practice. That's what I mean. It's the only way you get good at anything. That. And then depending on what you're drawing and what you're using, it's always kind of nice. If you want to stop here, obviously you can finish it off, but if you want to start playing with your line work, depending on if you're using pens with nibs or using and, other like other drawing pens like the Pigma, the Micron series, stuff like that, or your painting or something like that. It's like as far as drawing though and illustrating, I always will keep it simple and then add more later. And sometimes I'll just go crazy because I'm like, you know what, I really want to play with my lines and see what I can do and see how that looks, and that's fine. And if it doesn't work, then you kind of just move on to the next one. And but you can add all this kind of crazy detail in here. Now you can be the next Todd McFarlane or something, or you can try to keep it super simple and minimalistic. And it's always great to try both too, to see if you can do it. Always kind of try to test yourself that way, different styles. Make some crazy, put some crazy detail in somewhere, and then try to do a minimalist octopus. Like where it's, you've got an eyeball, and, some shapes. Because it gets the right point, the same point across, right? Like it's still, you'd still call that, I don't know about that one, but maybe, still call that kind of an octopus, right? So, yeah. Like I'm always trying like new things. If I can find a new art supply or move to a new medium and try it out, always you're never going to be great at anything you try first, right? It's always going to be a work in progress, and the more you try it, the more you do it, the better you get. That's always the way it is with just about anything, with sports, with drawing, life in general. So got a little deep here with my drinking and drawing. That's not too bad, And like I said, you could sit here and like if I'm just sitting here at night and like I can get, if I'm not doing anything. Like not trying to do any kind of finisher, I'm just trying to play around or blow off steam. Like I always find drawing is a great outlet for like my own mental health. It's a great outlet to just relax and blow off steam and let my mind focus on something else. And so, like I could sit here and fill in details all the way to just have fun with it. And so yeah, I like that. Maybe I'll use that as a reference piece for something else later, or not, or maybe I have a friend that likes it and it's like, oh, I'd like to have that. It's like, sure. Amaze your friends with your artistic skills, right? When you can, I always find it so funny that people are like, oh, you can draw. I mean, like I'm not saying I'm an incredible artist, but it's always amazing when people that can't do something. Find somebody with a skill that can do it, and it's like it's not that you can't draw, it's that you don't draw maybe, or like. But some people definitely have a natural inclination for stuff too, right? Whether that's sports or drawing, or how about we do a quick anglerfish too while I'm here, since I do love my deep sea friends. I do like to take a little artistic license, so like these are not what I would call super anatomically correct creatures. So we're gonna I'm just drawing 2D side profile. Anglerfishes are really kind of neat though. I'm sure you've probably seen them either watching like Finding Nemo or Finding Dory, or I don't know where else you'd see them, but like they're an interesting fish, and so they've got this appendage on the head, right, that comes out and has a little lure that like fluoresces, right, and lures prey in, and then they eat them. So I didn't draw him with his mouth open very wide, but he can get some big teeth there, and so we'll indent this a bit more here, so we get a little bit of the eye on that side. And then these guys have these really long filamentous rayed fins that come out, and then in between, like just that, and then same thing up top, like all there. You just that, and then the tail's kind of the same way. It's got these really long rays that actually stick out, and then the webbing between there And then he's got the anal fin down here too. And then, like there's different species of anglerfish. And so there's some really interesting and cool looking stuff out there too. So, and I probably made his eye a little small. They have pretty big eyes. But, then I'll work on the gill plate here. You can get some detail. And then they really don't have, well, I don't know what their scales are, but we'll add some like little scale detail here too, because it's always nice to add a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now we can shade the belly a little bit, and then if we want, we could add a little bit of detail in the fins, in the interstitial membrane here. These details are always fun, and it's always great to do that quick line work. And like I'm not doing cross hatching here; I'm just doing simple lines. But like we could come down here and we could do extra dark cross hatching. But maybe we'll get a little more there. And then maybe this brow line goes back here a little bit. Little contour details. Eyes a little smoother. And those little light circles. And maybe we'll add some line work around the lure, show that it's glowing. A few more teeth. There you go, little anglerfish. All right. Well, I'm going to continue drawing tonight, but I won't bore you guys with my commentary anymore. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you'd like to see me draw anything else. I plan on doing art and other nerdy stuff that I like to do on there, maybe talking about comic books and my sports cards and opening stuff with my son and Legos, and he likes that sort of thing. But since I like to draw and do all that, I'm not gonna split the channel up at all. So there'll be some drawing, and maybe I'll show off some of the other stuff I've done. I've got a couple product reviews, art supply products that I just bought that I used that I really like. So I'd like to do maybe a couple videos using them, just showing you how they work too, because I've been pretty impressed with the quality and what I've been able to do with. I bought some acrylic paint pens. So anyways, have a great night, and we'll talk to you later.